this is Hound Dog Steve coming to you from Bob Cajun, and it is the 21st of February and it is mid-evening, and I wanted to talk to you about something tonight which has been on my mind for quite a while, and it's actually kind of concerning me. And what it is a word, a 5-letter word. Begins with T and it ends in T, and that word is trust. And what's happening that I see right now out in the world is that trust is being eviscerated, and trust is such an important thing. And I thought I would just look it up in dictionaries. This is a dictionary my father gave to me, the Imperial Reference Dictionary, and I find it's kind of interesting because it's an older dictionary, before we had political correctness. Trust: worthiness of being relied on, fidelity, confidence in the truth of anything, confident expectation, a resting on the integrity, friendship of another, faith, hope, credit of confidence, that which is given or received in confidence. So there's a trustee, trustfulness, trustily, trustiness, trusting, trustless, trustlessness, trustworthy, trustworthiness, trustiest. And interesting enough, right below that is truth. And I'm just going to read you the first little bit of truth, defined as faithfulness, consistency, veracity, agreement with reality, fact of being true, actuality, accuracy of adjustment or conformity. And through fake news, this strange, bizarre term that we've come up with called alternate facts, as it says, there is only one truth, and that is in accordance with reality. And how do we judge a reality? Through cause and effect. If you drop a pebble, it will fall. That's the truth of the matter. And when we mess with truth and trust and integrity, we really do a very, very damaging thing to society. Everything we do, as small as that word is, everything we do with each other is reliant on trust. You're trusting that the car manufacturer is going to build the car properly so the wheels don't fall off when you're driving along. You're trusting that when you get paid by your boss that your wages get deposited in the bank and they're there for you to collect and spend on whatever goods you want to. You trust that manufacturers are going to be able to keep supply chains running so that they can bring goods in from foreign countries by sea, by road, by rail, and deliver them individually to each particular outlet as you go into the mall. There is this huge network, and we trust that it's all going to be in place, it's all going to function. When you dial your phone, you're trusting that all the connections up through the antennas and through the airways and all this kind of stuff are going to connect you with the person you want to text to, talk to, contact in any way, shape or form that you wish to. And this all involves trust. And so how do we create trust? Well, believe it or not, trust in the whole is created by trust between individuals. And right now I find that unless you are in close contact, like for example, I live here in a village and I know quite a few people in here, and those are the people that I trust because I know them. I know their background, I know that where they live, if there's anything goes wrong with any of the negotiations or deals that we have together, we can both be contacted easily and readily by each other. Okay, so that creates a bond of trust. But when you can't trust your banks, your news, your government at any level, municipal, provincial and federal, when you can't trust the water that you drink, when you can't trust the chemical companies, when you can't trust the pharmaceutical companies, when you can't trust the doctors and hospitals to give you a correct diagnosis, or to pump you full of pills and medicines, which certainly are controversial, shall we say. And I'm certainly glad that Robert Kennedy Jr. is in charge of vaccine safety. I think we're going to see some very interesting things come out of that. All of these things rely on trust. You know, we have to trust that my neighbour isn't going to go to work angry and screw up whatever it is they do at work that I'm reliant on happening to, create the conditions in society where things function. So that's where trust is built, is from neighbour to neighbour, friend to friend, face to face, customer to customer. And what I see is that all of these institutions are playing fast and loose with trust, and it just eviscerating the whole concept. And this is very, very dangerous, because it's one of the big underpinnings of society. If trust comes undone, I think you'll see society will come undone. In fact, it's interesting that if we go back to the 2007 meltdown and the asset-backed paper, it was basically that banks no longer trusted each other. In fact, it's interesting that HSBC apparently was reliant on drug cartel money. That was the only cash that was circulating around when the asset-backed commercial paper situation occurred, and the whole system just seized right up. And why? Because nobody trusted the assets that were backing that paper. So trust is a very valued commodity in society, and I'm saddened to see that there aren't more people who are concerned about maintaining that level of trust. We're going through this in the municipality here because basically any negotiations with staff about any issue, senior staff I'm talking about, are just basically run me around a circle and hide me in the square. You know, you can't get them to commit to anything. I have actually video of them openly lying to us, and I've told them over and over again that when you deal with the public in this fashion on a regular basis, and the number one complaint in this municipality is that staff do not return phone calls. They're not prepared to create that bond with the resident. And so when you go into negotiations, every time you enter negotiations, you go in there, apprehensive. And if you don't believe me, I'm not recommending this at all, please don't take this as a recommendation, but when you're about to go into a negotiation with somebody, just walk over to them, and for no reason, just give them a good hard shove, hard enough that they know that it's not a playful shove, okay? And let me know how the negotiations go after that. You can spend a lifetime, an absolute lifetime, building up a trusting, loving relationship, and destroy that in about 5 minutes flat. With words, with anger, with violence. You can't do anything without trust. And when I look around the world, take a look around. Is it any wonder that people don't trust each other, that countries don't trust each other? Look at the way we've been dealing with each other. Deals are meant to be double-crossed. They're designed to be double-crossed. There are lawyers writing in the double-cross. Okay, let me just give you a little example. Chevron, okay, gasoline company, down in Bolivia, completely destroyed the environment. Okay, they figure it's about $5 billion to clean up the jungle, because they basically just had open pipes letting out all of the sludge and grime and that the oil industry creates. And so anyway, they took off, left all the damage behind. It was just through court last year, I believe, and the judge ruled in Chevron's favour because of some clause on page 424, subsection B, that says the company cannot be indemnified for any pollution that's directly attributable to their work down there. You know, putting a clause in like that, hiding it away, this is being dishonest in your contracts, because that would be easy to gloss over. And but this is the way we're being dealt with all the time. There are pensioners. I can't think of companies off the top of my head, but there's been several Canadian companies that are American owned who have gone bust, and actually Nortel is a bit of an example of this too, where you know the Canadian courts actually left the retirees out in the cold as far as pension benefits are concerned. Okay, this is a contract. Everyone signed a contract agreeing that that's what was going to happen, and all of a sudden it goes to court. Well, we've gone bankrupt. Sorry about that. Have a nice day. That's just too bad for you. Well, what kind of breach of trust is that? And you know, you may think this is just one thing here and one thing there, but you know what? This stuff builds up. And you wonder why the people are rising up through Brexit, through Trump, through Marine Le Pen. Go no further than the mirror, my friends. Go no further than the mirror. These institutions have broken trust, breached trust so many times. And this trickles down. This sense of mistrust trickles down, so we deal with each other with mistrust. You know, how often do you hear on the streets of Toronto where people won't even look at you because just in case you might be wanting to get something out of them, like begging or you know, this kind of stuff. I mean, that is so abnormal for a human being to not want to look at another human being and smile or acknowledge. You know, this is counter to who we are. This is counter to our natural beingness, and this is all brought about by this sense of mistrust and suspicion of everything. This is what the stories of terrorism. You know, we had that blow up of the what's his name, Alexandra, who went into the mosque up in Ottawa there and killed several people. Yes, it was a terrible thing, but no, it wasn't a terrorist act. It was just a crazy white guy. It's as simple as that. It's a crazy guy, went off the edge and shot a whole bunch of people. But to come out in the media and portray this as a huge terrorist thing and a slur against Islam and all of this kind of stuff, again, it kind of breaks a trust. It breaks a trust when you misrepresent things. And I'm not saying that we should play this down, and I'm not saying that it isn't a terrible tragedy. But to misrepresent it as something other than what it is doesn't do anyone any favours. Anyway, that's about all. I just wanted to make a little mention of this because I'm really quite deeply concerned that we need to rediscover how to trust people. And that means looking people in the eye, shaking them by the hand, and living up to your contracts. And in fact, you know, in reality, we have something like 50,000 acts, statutes, laws and bylaws to govern us, but really we only need three. The first one is you can't kill anybody. The second one is you can't hurt anybody. And the third one is you must always be honest in your contracts. So if you live up to those three things, you're not going to go far wrong in life. So keep smiling and be courteous to your neighbour. Think to indicate when you're driving that car so the person behind knows that you're turning. Try to resist giving someone the finger when they cut you off. All of these things undermine the strength within our society. And this is a sense of brotherhood and sisterhood within the community. Okay, so I'm going to leave you with that. This is Hound Dog Steve signing off, and please like, subscribe down below, and we'll get back to you, and we'll talk some more later. You have a great evening now. Bye bye.